All right, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are, in fact, free and available wherever you get your podcast. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and, of course, upvote the video itself and comment down below. We'd appreciate it. Ole Miss took 2 out of 3 from the Maryland Terrapins over the weekend, and it was a fun series. It really was. It got chippy at times. TJ McCants hit a huge pimp job home run that the catcher had words for him from, and McCants talked back, and, it got a little bit heated there for a second, and he got to the point where the whole stadium was booing. And I will give you my opinion on pimp jobs. I think you should be able to pimp a home run as much as you want to, or as at least as much as you're willing to take a ball in the back, period. Because pitchers out there after a strikeout doesn't look like Leslie Nielsen, calling strike three. That doesn't exist. So bat flips and pimp jobs and things like that, it's just this me society that we live in now. And I understand that it's not going to change. And I understand that people want to have fun. But as an old school fan, it just rubs me the wrong way. Just hit the ball and go to base. If you hit a home run, jog around the bases, do your song over the PA system, your celebration after he crosses home plate, do all of that. That's fantastic. But I do not want Ole Miss baseball to turn into what Tennessee was last year. And I think even TJ McCants has said after the fact that he probably held that too long and he didn't mean to. But he had a rough weekend. He's had a rough week. He does get a little leeway on that, but honestly, Maryland didn't know that. So my first impression of the weekend is I am not willing to give up on Jack Doherty yet on Friday. Not at all. But right now, Ole Miss has a little bit of a Friday problem without Hunter Elliott. And there's rumors back and forth going as like, will Hunter Elliott have to get Tommy John? Will he not? Will he be able to rehab? The lack of information creates not necessarily conspiracies, but rumors and misinformation. And I got text messages over the course of the weekend, 3 different things. It's like, hey, just want to let you know this is happening with Hunter. And it's 3 completely different people that are fairly connected on what's going on. But there's an information, people are backing her, and you can't really use it because they tell you one thing. It's like, okay, well, that sucks. And it's like, well, okay, that news is a little better. And it's like, how is this news swinging so many different directions? So honestly, we just have to wait for official word at this point. So he might have to have Tommy John. He might not. He might be back in 3 weeks. He might not. We're in that scenario. But in the meantime, Jack Doherty got roughed up pretty good. And there's problems on Friday and Saturday with control. And hopefully that gets fixed. Luckily, Mike Bianco he's a pitching guru. So if anything can get done, it will get done with the pitching side of the ball. Like Sonye on Saturday, he's going to be fine. He's just a freshman. Saturday was the biggest baseball game he has ever played in. And he is going to have that happening a while. And then once that stops, he can relax and everything can slow down and he can become what he's going to become. But he does have a while where the biggest baseball game he's ever pitched in is going on. Whether it was his first collegiate start against Delaware, playing a ranked Maryland team, the biggest series of the preseason, or not preseason, the non-conference season for Ole Miss baseball. Now he's going to get his first road atmosphere. For a while, this is going to happen. So probably about the 3rd week of the SEC schedule, he'll calm down a little bit. And once that happens, his stuff can take over. He can truly develop. You're not pitching so much on adrenaline. I like Xavier Rivas. I think he's a good Sunday guy. But Sunday, man, Sunday has turned, it's just batting practice out there. Calvin Harris with his home run stick. This team just mashes. It's just absolutely nuts. I realize I'm probably using a word from like 1997 to describe a power hitting baseball team like we used to do with LSU back in the day. But this team, they hit the ball really well, and they hit the ball deep. I don't know if the bats are a little lighter than they used to be. I don't know if the balls are a little lighter than they used to. And by used to, I mean like 2 years ago. But this is a baseball team that you didn't expect to be here because they lost Tim Ulko. They lost Kevin Graham. And between them, that's nearly 40 home runs. So you're like, what is Ole Miss going to be able to do? And what they're going to be able to do is hit the ball out of the ballpark. I think Peyton Chatagnier this season already has 3 home runs. TJ McCants is somewhere there. Calvin Harris is there. So you got a bunch of guys that have a chance to be 10 to 15 at the end of the year in home runs. We'll see what SEC pitching does to these guys, but they're at the point where they're really knocking the cover off the ball. And like I said, Will Furness, that guy's a dude. I like him. And, I told my wife watching the game, if any of y'all have seen the movie Blended, the Adam Sandler movie Blended, and he teaches this little kid how to hit a baseball. And he tells it to put psych out the pitcher by making faces at him, So he always looks mean. If you look at Will Furness batting, this is going to change the way you see him the rest of the year. It's that same thing. He's absolutely making stank face at the pitcher, trying to psych you out. And I laugh every time I see it. It's pretty great. The freshman pitchers, enjoyed. I want to see what Quinn does this week against Louisiana Tech, because Louisiana Tech is a traditionally mash the ball type of team. So Quinn throws the ball a little straight. I want to see how he does against that team, because we are not necessarily looking for a Friday starter. We are just looking for as much pitching as we can get, because we are down at the moment 3 arms. If you consider Hunter Elliott, Riley Maddox, and Josh Mattis. So with them not being able to play, you need to try and make up arms. Yeah, you lose your closer and your Friday night pitcher. That's not an ideal situation. But Ole Miss's offense has shown the ability to mash when they need to. So we'll see how that happens. They are hitting the ball a ton. I really, really like Leger and Groff as the transfer. Even Calarco. It looks like they hit on all 3 transfers. And you can just look at the batting lineup and you can see what they can do, because Groff makes all the difference at the top of that order. Even when Gonzalez is leading off, if you have Groff in the 2-hole, that is opening up everything for Alderman and Harris and Clark. It's a little bit of a bear, this lineup. It just is. So I think Ole Miss is going to be fine because they were last year. They get the benefit of the doubt for like 3 years from me. I'm not going to overly question anything. So when it comes to pitching, they're probably going to get it figured out. So we'll see exactly what they do, but I just know this team hits a ton right now, and they're pretty fun to watch. So I'm really excited about that. Anyway, thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place, plus you get to hear from big-name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. It's Locked On College Basketball. It's available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in today. We'll keep following the basketball search. We'll keep getting ready for spring. We'll keep doing recruiting. We got Jason Jordan tomorrow, if technology doesn't rise up, and he's going to give his perspective nationally of the Ole Miss college basketball search. So stick around for that. Should be really good. But until then, we'll see you tomorrow.